All right, with that, I'll call to order the Town of Ocean Ridge Special Magistrate hearing. It's January 6th. It is 10:02, so we can get started. My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the Special Magistrate for today's hearing. I don't see any respondents in the room. Is there anybody on the computer, Miss Madam Clerk?
I do have somebody here to testify in the first case.
A town witness?
Yes.
Okay. So given that there don't appear to be any respondents present either in the room or virtually, I'll forego the process description, but at this time I will swear in anybody who's going to be testifying. So anybody in the room, and then Miss Avery is the person on the computer. Who is that?
Her name's Darcy Anderson.
And she's a town.
Yes, I will have her pull up on the screen.
Okay, great.
She's a resident, a former resident.
Okay.
Sure. Nope. Sorry. Technical difficulties here. First grade. Stop share. And then go back to share. And then click this one. So the screen left. I'm trying to share her. Oh. Her on the screen. Because you're fast. Done it before. Bear with me here.
No, take your time. I'm glad you guys have to figure that out.
Now I need to.
Do you think she's muted on her end?
You should have. We should have the ability to unmute her.
I'm good. Sorry.
Hey.
All right, ma'am. So if you can hear us on the computer then, Miss
I
Anderson?
can.
So
Yes.
at this time, I'm going to swear anybody in who's going to be speaking. So I understand you're going to be speaking. If you could raise your right hand for me. And I'll swear you all in unison. So do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All right, with that, I reviewed the December 2nd, 2025 meeting minutes, and those are approved as drafted. So with that, I'll turn it to the town to call its first case.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is Christy Gatto on behalf of the Town of Ocean Ridge. The first case on today's agenda is case number 2025-067. The property address is 18 Adams Road in the Town of Ocean Ridge. The owner shown on property appraiser is 18 Adams OR LLC. We have the town clerk, our town zoning and code enforcement officer, and Darcy Anderson here to testify on behalf of the town. I think we'll talk first with the clerk about notice and her initial dealings with the property owner.
So, we received information from Ms. Anderson that there was some issues going on at the property, with, septic issues. That's backing up every time it rains and, a possible illegal, wash or drainage pipe. I'm probably not saying the right words, but, the drain pipe is illegally installed. So I had Manny go out and speak with her, and she showed him everything that was her complaints were, and he took pictures. And at that same day, we sent a notice out, a courtesy notice, basically, which I have in the packet. I believe that was November 13th.
Mhm.
And excuse me, we gave him time frame to get that completed, either to prove that it had been fixed or he was getting it fixed or it was not illegally done. We never heard back. Finally, I didn't get the call. The owner did call me. I was not available, but I got a message that he was already on top of it and he had just gotten the permit from DEP and he was getting ready to do a building permit with us.
Okay.
We never heard anything. We never got any permit submitted, nothing. So I did contact the DEP and I asked if he did have a permit with them. They said yes, he had acquired it back in October and that it expired January 1st. So like I said, we never got any building permit submitted. So I did send him a notice of violation stating the 2 items, and his compliance would have been to prove that he was in compliance or to get the issued building permits for those. And he did at one point attempt to apply for a permit for this septic, but all the wrong documents were sent in and not a full package. So we did send it back with a comment stating that he needed to do that. That was the beginning of December. And we have not had any resubmission. So it has since expired, and nothing's been done.
Okay. And it looks like you sent certified mail that you got back, confirmation of delivery. Is that correct?
Correct. And I know he did receive it because he did call and he talked to Manny and I about what he needed to do and that he was trying to get it done and he was just trying to find a contractor. The one he had, I guess, was dragging their feet or whatever it may be. We told him that it is his responsibility to get that done, and that was kind of where we left it at. And then he did apply for it, like the next day or 2.
And
But-
no other communication after you sent the incomplete packet back?
Correct.
Nothing? Okay. All right, Mr. Palacios, do you have anything else on service? It looks like you did an affidavit of posting here.
Special magistrate. I did go out on the 13th of November, talked to a couple of the residents before there was 2 residents another resident besides Miss Anderson. I walked around the whole complex with the first resident and I really couldn't see anything. Looked like there was some dried up backup from the system there on the grass, but I can't attest that that's exactly what it was. The resident said to me that Miss Anderson would be the person to talk to because she's got it all documented. So as we were talking, Miss Anderson was just coming. I introduced myself to her and we discussed the issue. And I'm not going to go into detail of the conversation, but she mentioned to me that she had all kinds of documentation about the backup and the problems she had. I mean, I'll let her explain to you, but this system needs to be looked at. It might be even right now illegal. And we're waiting for the health department. I can't claim it is, but with that kind of backup, there's a problem somewhere.
Okay.
And with that, that's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay.
Manny, is there a pipe that goes out into the grass that the washer machine is?
Well, I would, that, I thought that when I went to the back, I did see a PVC pipe that was out. But if you, as I looked at it, yeah, I think one of the photographs show that it runs up to the gutter.
Okay,
Yeah, but the washer, the washer does have, plumbing line going into the wall. That connection, I can attest that maybe that line also is hooked up, to go out somewhere, but the line that I saw that was outside was just the,
okay.
uh, gutter. Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
You ready for Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Anderson, go ahead.
Oh, good morning, Your Honor. Any particular questions you have for me, or should I just give you a little bit about what happened?
I'll defer to the town attorney if you want to give her specific questions or you just want her to explain. It's either way, it's fine.
Yeah, Ms. Anderson, if you could just state your full name for the record.
Sure, it's Darcy Anderson.
Okay, thank you. And we're here today on 2 violations at 18 Adams. Are you familiar with that property?
I am.
And can you tell me how you're familiar?
I rented a studio apartment at 18 Adams, September 1st of 2025.
Okay. And during that time, have you had any issues at your residence there?
Yes, several.
Okay, can you explain to the magistrate the issues that you've experienced?
Sure. Basically, the septic is faulty and it backs up when it rains. I moved in September 1st, and 2 documents I submitted, which makes this much easier to follow, is a September calendar and an October calendar. By September 12th, the septic was down. It was down the 13th, it was down the 15th, the 16th, the 22nd, the 23rd, and then we got into October and it was, 10 days of no septic. Um, but living in Ocean Ridge, I understand you're going to have septic issues, but this wasn't just an issue. This is ongoing. And when I talk to residents on Adams, neighbors and others, there's a long history of uh, septic problems with that property. It's not news to them. And I approached the owner and said, what are you going to do? This is And then by September 15th was the first time I heard that he actually had a permit that he needed to turn in to the health department. So he'd had the field surveyed and it needed to be replaced. Hadn't done that. He finally did submit on September 22nd. It was approved October 10th. And obviously, he still hasn't filled out that paperwork for Ocean Ridge. And living there, of course, asking him, what are the plans? He was, basically told me, well, he should just leave November 30th. So that was his answer. And he didn't think it was problematic that the, sewer backed up when it rained,
Okay.
which
So what would happen when it rained? Like, were you just not able to flush the
Oh,
toilet?
well, depending on the amount of rainfall, and certainly October, we had a king tide and a super moon. So I understand that certainly gives us, saturates all the fields. But, on Adams, we were the only property that couldn't flush. During that period of 7 days, it was horrific. I mean, it was a pump out every 12 hours. And every time they lifted up that sewer lid, it was like a cockroach apocalypse. We also had, because there was so much water coming out of the ground because this field is saturated, we had a family of cane toads, which come because there's so much sewer water. And I have that documented in photos. So that's when it was really bad. And that was 7 days of, of going to the bathroom, not flushing, waiting for the pump out, no showers, no water, nothing. So,
Okay.
and other occasions it would be rain, system down, wait for the pump out. If you got lucky, it pumped out at night. So in the morning you could, maybe flush the toilet before you went to work. So, yeah, it's definitely problematic. And it's not just an inconvenience to the renters, obviously, but it was foul smelling. I mean, this was sewage running to the drain. Yeah, it's icky. It's really bad.
And I'm sorry, what date did you move out of the residence?
So he told me to leave November 30th, and he did give me 30 days to vacate and said he wouldn't charge me for the month. And yeah, as you know, finding rentals in Ocean Ridge, it's not easy. And 30 days wouldn't be adequate, especially with a dog. So that's why I relocated to Fort Myers, so I didn't have to rush into, trying to buy something or find something, you know. I had to come here. So November 30th, I moved out officially November 24th, Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, and before you moved out, to your knowledge, had the septic changed at all? Had it been fixed?
No, no, because obviously you still don't have a permit filed with you guys. The permit has expired. He is selling the property. I don't know if you know that. He's had it for sale for 2.4, but in the last month, he's lowered it by 200,000. I think, and this is you know, just my belief is that, he never intended on fixing the septic. Basically, it's fine unless it rains. And I don't think it's a good idea to rent the property then. I would have liked to have been given the option of, hey, you can rent, but when it rains, you should know, the sewer will back up. It will flow down the yard right outside your door. So I hope he doesn't rent to somebody else and they find themselves in that situation.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't have anything further from Ms. Anderson. I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple. So you indicated that you provided some pictures to the town. Miss Avery, is that the pictures that are in the file, or are there additional pictures that you have?
There are additional pictures.
Okay.
yes, And I can pull those up.
The one additional photo that I submitted, and when Manny spoke, he was right. The pipe that I photographed initially, that was not where the drainage was coming. So before I left, I made sure and ran the washing machine so you could see where that washer drained and took a pretty good photo of that. So that was an additional photo. Sadly, I wasn't able to get great photos because, like I said, it was a cockroach apocalypse. If I opened up my front door, they were just scurrying in like a mad rush.
Here's one I'm putting up there.
Okay.
Would that I could have gotten something.
So is that picture right there for the washer machine?
I can't.
Wastewater?
I don't know if she can see that.
Oh,
If it has the long pipe, that is not the correct photo. It was an additional photo I sent Kelly, and it's a close up where you see a big arrow pointing to all the sudsy bubbles.
yeah.
So so you took that photo, Miss Anderson, and what you're pointing to is a pipe that comes out of the wall, and you're telling me that the washing machine drains out of that pipe. Is that
That's-
correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so you ran your washing machine and then went outside and watched water come out of that pipe?
Yes, so I could get a better picture for you.
Okay.
I couldn't recreate the flooding, the sewage backup, sadly, but I could get you that.
And Miss Avery's showing the other pictures that I think you submitted.
I got a picture of the cane toads through my slatted blinds. We would tape down the inside doors. And of course, I have all the text streams between the landlord and the real estate agent and my neighbors and I that support just how awful it was September, October. It just, and he just really didn't seem to think it was a problem, which I found.
And the photographs that I'm looking at, there's a big like concrete manhole cover or something.
Yeah.
Is that the entry to the septic tank?
That's correct, Your Honor. That was right outside my door.
Okay, so and you're saying, I've heard a lot of discussion about when it rains, this sewage would back up. It would come out of that manhole cover. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, with the septic, the field gets saturated, so it can't take in any more waste, and it just kind of leaches through the ground. And so and then we also there was big rains, but it can't absorb anything, so it just kind of I don't know the specifics of how exactly septic and fields work, but this one is shot. It just can't hold anything. That tank fills up and it has nowhere to go, so it just comes out, of the drain area. And then
Okay,
they lift that lid and that's sewage that's backed up, like a porta potty. Think of it that way. If you were sitting down in a porta potty, if the poop had nowhere to go, it just start spilling out of the porta potty. And that's basically what happens here. So when you lift that cover, you know, and pump it out so it has room to collect waste again, but then it fills up because the leaching field is shot and has been for a long time there. This is not news to the other residents on the street.
and there's the other photos, Miss Avery, that are in the case file. Those were taken by Mr. Palacios.
Correct.
So the photos of, is that dried sewage in the grass, Mr. Palacios? Okay,
And that would have been during a dry season, November 13th, I believe, we met and we'd had, if it's dry, you're pretty good, so.
and the permit for the health department that's been discussed, that permit expired January of last year
Of this year,
of 2026.
Correct.
And it was a permit to install a new septic,
correct.
system. Okay.
And Your Honor, if I may add, the owner obviously had the field surveyed by Southern Septic long before I rented the place. And, they told him, you need a new septic. And then he rented to me. And then we had the problems. And then I found out that he always knew he needed to get a new septic. And that's how long he's been dragging his feet on fixing this problem at the expense of, the last 3 months of my life,
Okay. And so while you were there, in the time that you were there, you observed raw sewage out in that grassy area outside
Oh.
the door?
Absolutely. Could smell it, could see it, and every neighbor could see it
Okay.
running. And we have a storm drain at the end of the property, which I'm sure Manny saw, and it runs right into that because we are the lowest point in the road pretty much. So he is in a bad situation there. And, in massive rains, I can imagine it will always be problematic. But yeah. Sewer.
And I don't see, Miss Avery, the permit application that was submitted. Do you?
I did not provide it because it was an incorrect application.
Okay.
And he didn't provide all the other documents. So when it comes through the portal, it's not actually accepted until he has all the documents. So it's actually considered submitted.
Okay.
It's just kind of like in a queue. So what we did is once we received it, we told him what he still needed. And we sent it back. So it's not
Okay.
actually been submitted.
But the application was for a new
Yes,
septic system, and then did it also address the washing
it
machine
did not.
pump out?
It did
Okay.
not.
Okay.
I was hoping that he would be here in order to prove that it was.
So that was my next question. Did you
Yeah.
have any communication about appearance at the hearing from
He
him?
got the notification, he got the notice of violation, and I know he did because he called us on it.
Okay, but
Um,
otherwise, no indication that he wouldn't be here.
Right,
And this is a multifamily, like, apartment building or something, correct? Okay. All right, I appreciate your testimony, Miss Anderson. Is there anything else you'd like me to hear?
No, thank you, Your Honor. And thank you, Miss Avery, for all your help, and Manny.
All right, so what is the town seeking today in terms of remedy?
Your Honor, we are seeking 30 days to come into compliance with both sections, failing which a fine of $250 per day.
And I think I see administrative costs for today's.
Yes, and the administrative costs are $174.73.
All right, and for the record, the respondent is not present at today's hearing. Anything further from the town?
No, Your Honor.
All right, with that, in case 2025-067, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting as well as delivery confirmation indicating that the certified mail has been delivered, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file, and I'll also ask Miss Avery if you could ensure that the additional photographs that you showed to me on the screen make it into your official case file. That based on all of the photographs that I've reviewed, as well as the testimony of both the town staff and the town's witness, Miss Anderson, that the respondents in violation of section 67-175 subpart 9 and 67-177 B1. And I'll give respondents 30 days to comply with both those code sections, or $250 per day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter. Because I have found respondent in violation of those code sections, I'll assess the town's administrative costs in the amount of $174.73 for today's hearing, payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next case.
Your Honor, case number 3, 2025-068 is being removed. They have paid this parking citation.
Okay.
So the remaining case on today's agenda is case 2025-069. This is a parking citation. The respondent is Kedrick Burley. Kelly, do we have an officer?
I had informed them of this case and I do not have an officer present. I'm not sure if they weren't able to attend or what happened, but I do have the CAD and pictures that show that the driver did receive the notice.
Do we want to take a research and see if there's a police officer who could come over and testify to it?
We can do that.
If that's all right with you, Your Honor, take a
That's
short
fine. Yeah,
recess.
do you need 5 minutes? I think that's
Yeah.
sufficient.
Yep.
All right. So at this time, 10:29, I'll recess for 5 minutes.
at 1603. We have a city ordinance on the whole Old Ocean. You're not allowed to park any vehicles for any reason. There's also multiple no parking signs.
Okay.
Multiple. Just every few blocks it says no parking, no offloading, no stopping, no standing. The whole Old Ocean. Looks like according to that picture, it was parked on a vacant lot. Which is another city court ordinance for parking any vehicle on a vacant lot. Which is not allowed. There's a person that was inside the vehicle. I guess he left the vehicle. I'm not sure what happened. There's a whole body cam footage, but he was been taught by a police officer, Officer Branta. He encountered with him. He printed the ticket, and he handed directly to the person who was operating the vehicle. And I believe the person on ticket is the person who's holding the ticket.
Okay. Okay.
And there's a police vehicle right there, right behind it
Yeah.
as well.
What is the town seeking in terms of remedy?
Your Honor, the citation amount is $40 and the town is also seeking its administrative costs of $174.46.
And the citation amount has not been paid. That's accurate.
Correct. We checked this morning before the hearing.
Okay, great. And I guess, Miss Avery, there's a notice of hearing in here. It looks like you sent the notice of hearing.
Yes.
Do you have confirmation of delivery?
There was no, I guess, a attempted delivery, but it has not been delivered. We sent them, regular mail and we sent them certified mail.
Yep.
But he also received it in person.
I guess, is that what that photo is showing? Is that one
That's-
photo shows the officer, he doesn't look like he signed for it, but it does appear that the officer handed him the citation. Is that?
Yes, we do not require any signature unless it's a dog violation, I believe. This is a parking enforcement only. So whenever we issue to a vehicle, you don't require any kind of signature.
Notice at today's hearing date.
But because of our perfect cameras that we have interaction with people, it's always documented who we out with. And that's why that's the picture directly from the camera, body worn camera that we wear.
All right, given the photograph showing that the respondent is holding the citation, I'll accept that as service. That'll work for today. Anything further from the town?
No, Your Honor.
All right, with that, in case 2025-069, for the record, the respondent is not present at today's hearing. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the documents in the case file, which include a photograph showing the respondent, 2 photographs actually, one with the officer handing the respondent the citation, and a second photograph with the respondent holding the citation, that the respondent had actual service or actual notice of today's hearing, given that the citation had today's hearing date and time on it. I'll find based on the testimony of the officer as well as documents in the case file that the respondent's in violation of section 54-2 and that the respondent has not paid the $40 citation amount. So I will assess that $40 citation amount as well as the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $174.46 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. And that appears to be it on today's agenda. So I'll adjourn this hearing at 10:40.